Hey guys, BJ at Basil's Trucking Camper here in Montgomery, Alabama. Today we're going to talk about how to do math with an 8.5 by 20 tandem axle cargo trailer. All right guys, like I said, we're going to do some math on this 8.5 by 20 tandem axle cargo trailer. Before we get into this though, if you've seen our content or you see this video here, you like the content, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, and you can see future videos coming up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. So before we get into the math portion of it, let me go over some specifications real quick. Some of them are standard for us, and some of them are standard for Rock Solid. So the first thing you'll see on this side door, it's got a bar lock on the side door. That is standard for us. Over the last several years, we've had a lot of guys come and they want to add a bar lock to their RV flush lock side door, which is fine. We have the capability of doing that. We do it all the time. We keep the materials here and the hardware here to do that. But for our trailers that we order for us, we've just started adding that extra step of security to our side doors as a standard option on trailers that we're going to stock on the yard and trailers we're going to order. If somebody wanted to come in a special order trailer, I'm adding the bar lock to that side door. It's a little bit cheaper to get it from the factory actually, so it's just a little bonus feature that we ordered and we stock on the yard that way. So you see Rock Solid does also do the color match screws on their trailers. That's something they've always done since they started. So you'll also notice on this trailer that we've got a break right here in the skin, and what that does is that helps keep tension on the screw head on this seam where they've got multiple layers of skin, so it acts like a lock washer. That's done intentionally from Rock Solid. 5,200 pound axles on this trailer. That's going to be part of the math equation that we're going to do on this trailer, and I'll talk to you about that here in a few minutes. LED lights are standard on this trailer. LED tail lights are standard as well, but we also do a dual LED tail light. So on all of our trailers that we order stock, we order dual LED tail lights. Reason being, it makes the trailer look a little bit nicer, and then also if you have one of these lights go out on one side, you still have a backup light, a secondary light to signal your braking and your turning and to act like as a marker light back here. So just a little bonus feature that we do, kind of set ourselves apart from some of the competition by adding those bonus features standard on all of our trailers. Ramp door, that's how we stock all of our trailers, ramp doors. So let's take a peek at the inside real quick. So 3/4 inch plywood floors, that's standard from Rock Solid. 3/8 plywood walls, that's standard from Rock Solid. 16-inch center tube walls, 16-inch center cross members on the floor. 6'6" is going to be your standard interior height on an 8.5 wide trailer. Tube cross members on the roof bows, thermocool ceiling liner, help keep the heat out. I'll show you one more thing that's standard from Rock Solid. Hopefully there'll be enough light in here. All right, I think you guys can see that. So this gusset plate right here is also going to be standard from Rock Solid. That helps stiffen up this rear end, keep the trailer from swaying. There's a fine line between building a trailer heavy duty and then building it to where it just can't be towed down the road. These trailers are going to move. That's something that's going to happen with all brands. They are going to move as they roll down the road. They're going to have a slight movement, but you can combat against that movement with tube walls, all tube 6-inch frame like Rock Solid uses on their trailers. And then I've seen another brand do that, and I've seen Rock Solid do that, where they add that gusset right there in that corner, right off the bat from the factory, so that it's not something that's being repaired later on down the road. The brands that don't do gussets, the majority of the time, they're going to have issues because we do repairs here also. We're not just a trailer dealership. We also do repairs on trailers as well. So we get to see everybody's stuff. We get to see all the manufacturers, the good, the bad, the ugly. We've seen trailer manufacturers where that rear end cracks in a matter of weeks of some of our customers using them. And some of them, for the most part, some of them do take a few years before they start having issues. But if you don't do something to try to reinforce those rear corners, at some point they are going to crack. And so we weld those back up. And that's one of the things we do when we weld them back up is we add gusset plates on the rear corners and the tops back there. So let's get into the math of this trailer. So as I mentioned, this is a 8.5 by 20. And for those of you who don't know, an 8.5 by 20 trailer weighs 3,200 pounds. That is the curb weight of this trailer. So this trailer weighs 3,200 pounds. We stock it with a 5,200 pound axle, standard. I do not stock a 8.5 by 20 with 3,500 pound axles. That is bad math, okay? So if this trailer weighs 3,200 pounds and we had 3,500 pound axles on this trailer, that would put your gross payload at 3,800 pounds. That is some pretty bad math. It's not going to work out for you. If you load a car and your toolboxes and other things that you're packing out inside this trailer, you're overloaded. We sell a lot of 8.5 by 20s to landscapers, actually. Landscapers want to haul 3 mowers. They're cutting residential yards and commercial yards, commercial properties, and they need to haul 3 mowers. So if your average mower weighs 1,200 pounds a piece, so just the mowers themselves, that would be 3,600 pounds. In your payload, your gross payload is 3,800 pounds. We've not even gotten into any kind of trimmers, fuel, rakes, shovels, all of your other miscellaneous hand tools that you need to work on your mowers as you're riding down the road, the racks that are going to hold that stuff, most of the time mounted to the walls. So you're overloaded. So that's why we stock an 8.5 by 20 with 5,200 pound axles. So when you're shopping for an 8.5 by 20 trailer, this trailer is considered a car hauler. But what you'll see is a lot of dealers will stock this trailer with 3,500 pound axles. Now, why would they do that? Most of them knowing exactly what's going to happen is we call it a price point trailer. So that's not something that we do. That's not how we do business here at Basil's. We don't do price point trailers. We want to stock trailers that work for our customer and are going to last as long as possible. Nobody can afford to buy a trailer every year. Nobody can afford to replace axles every 6 months because they're bending them and wearing out the tires. You also get a larger bearing in the 5,200 pound axle and larger brakes. So not only are you not going to bend your axles, but you're going to have a longer service life on your axles, and then you're going to also have much better stopping power, which means cheaper maintenance bills on your tow vehicle as well. So there's a whole lot of thought that goes into this of what size axles you're going to need on your trailer and why. So when you're looking at an 8.5 by 20 trailer with 5,200 pound axles, the trailer is rated at 99.90. This trailer weighs 3,200 pounds. So then your gross payload would be 6,790. Okay, so that is much better math, and I'll show you on a trailer sticker in case you're not sure how to do that math, and you can look at your payload and you can actually calculate and see what your trailer weighs. Even though this trailer has 5,200 pound axles, they're down rating a little bit, so they're GVWR on this trailer is going to be $99.90. And then if you look at your tire spec sticker, it will tell you the weight of cargo should never exceed. Now they got kilograms and then they got pounds. Make sure you're looking at the pounds. You'll freak out if you accidentally look at the kilogram and do that math. So 67.90. So if we subtract 67.90 from 99.90, that's going to give you 3,200 pounds even. So that tells you the curb weight of this trailer is 3,200 pounds. It should also be listed on your MSO as well, but that's going to be after you make that trailer purchase. And that may be too late. So you want to do that math beforehand. So if you were to look at one that had tandem 3,500 pound axles on it, your gross vehicle rating is going to be 7,000 pounds. And with this trailer being 3,200 pounds curb weight, that's going to leave your payload at 3,800 pounds. So you don't want your payload to be equal or fairly equal within a couple of hundred pounds of one of your axle ratings. So like we said, we always talk about bad math. That's bad math. You want to do smart math. Make sure you're doing the math of the equipment that you're going to be hauling in this. Do be aware. Some people just assume, hey, I can load 3 mowers in this trailer, it fits. Well, it's not UPS. If it fits, doesn't mean it's going to ship. So make sure you're doing that math, adding up all your equipment, and make sure you're leaving yourself some buffer, because there are also 2 types of loading that happens to a trailer. There is static loading, this trailer sitting still, and then there's dynamic loading when this trailer is in motion. So the dynamic loading is definitely what's going to be the thing that gets you as you're driving this trailer down the road and you're hitting potholes, you're edging off the side of the road and hitting the potholes there, or hitting curbs or hitting bridges. Concrete bridges are actually very lethal to trailer axles, especially when they're overloaded or they're within a few hundred pounds of being overloaded. When this trailer starts bouncing and you start getting that dynamic loading, it is a force coming down on these axles, and these concrete bridges, the seams in the bridges are bending these axles. So you definitely want to give yourself plenty of room, a big enough buffer that you're not going to have to worry about it and not have the expense of replacing axles. We do that on a weekly basis. We stock axles here. We have some warehouses where we can order axles and get them in next day. So it's definitely more of a regular service than it should be, because people are either overloading their trailers, they didn't buy a big enough trailer to start with, or they're neglecting their bearing maintenance and they're burning bearings up. So like as I said before, if you guys like this content, you want to learn more about specs of trailers, want to learn more about what you should be looking for, and want to learn more about the things you should be considering when purchasing a trailer, hit that subscribe button. We'll be posting more content. I'm going to post as much as I can. A lot of videos are going to be on trailer repairs, trailer specifications. We also do truck accessories here as well. So we're gonna have some of those types of videos as well. So if you're interested in trailers, truck accessories, maintenance, that sort of thing, hit that subscribe button, and have a great day.